Hey guys, that was my favorite move, so we figured we'd make you all stare at it for a minute.
Welcome to it. Hey everybody.
Lex.
I'm Shane.
I'm Lex, like always.
Like always.
And we got Q&A today, guys.
Yeah, rock on.
So you throw down, and Shane and I'll drink, and Shane and I'll try and answer some stuff.
We'll try it. We'll do what we can. We'll do what we can.
Absolutely.
So throw down your questions.
Dear Shane and Lex, is there a way in inventory to list all network-connected printers? Sincerely, Brad M.
Okay, network-connected printers. So we're not. I just want to make sure we're not talking the ones that are plugged directly into computers.
Yeah, network connected.
Network connected. Okay.
There's a couple of ways you can have the network connected printers. So there's from the print server, but there's also you can have an IP port. Mm-hmm. So it kind of depends what you're talking about. One of the issues with printers is most printers are installed per user.
Yeah.
And that's where it can get difficult. Like you could even use, we have the printer area of inventory. 1 second here. We'll open this one up. It's probably not going to have anything in there. We have printers here, but notice how it says printers local. There's WMI scanners that you can do, but if you've got a per user printer, it's only going to be able to be found when that user is logged on.
So that scan has to run when the user's logged on.
Well, then there's an extra level of that.
Yeah.
And that is that the scan runs as a local system.
Exactly.
So you might be able to run a WMI query and go, hey, see, I'm running this personally, and I see the printers there, but it's not available in the context when that other scanner is running. Anyway, we've seen the behavior where it shows the printer when the user's logged on, and then after a scan happens and they've been logged off, it goes away. Yeah. So there's different ways around this. Do you have anything you want to add, Jordan?
Well, I think if you do the network discovery, it will find the machines. You won't be able to do anything. It won't tell you what they are, but it will, by the IP, at least list them in your inventory. It's kind of limited what we can do with it.
I guess I interpreted that as I want to find which printers are configured for a machine to print to, not just find the network printers.
Well, I would say definitely. I'm with Jordan. You can find all the ones on the network. Yeah. Those IPs will be there, but as for associating it with the person, that's
So if you want to, so if that was the question, boy, I should read that again. If that was the question, if it was, is there a way to inventory list all? Okay, well, I can see that being taken two ways. Hey Brad, if you're looking for just computers or printers that are out there, printing devices that are out there that have an IP address, yes, what Jordan said, do a network discovery. Mm-hmm. You'll have to treat that as a manual process as far as don't tell it not to scan, but you can at least identify that as a printer and know that it's online or offline, etc. So.
And the nice thing is a lot of these printers will have an HTTP, like a web interface, so you can build a tool to go in and just highlight it, click your key combination, open up.
We've seen people do create custom tools to manage the printers and different devices that are out there. But if that's what you meant, I apologize. I thought you were talking about from the computer view. Sorry.
Have a coffee, man.
Well, we start out on great.
Dear Shane and Lex, Microsoft is incorporating Teams with the installation of Office 365 in the near future. When they do this, will we have to redo the entire package from scratch, download files, create XML files, etc.? Thanks, Jeremy O.
Probably. I'm going to go ahead because this Teams is a pretty big update from what I understand. So I wouldn't be surprised. Now, maybe you don't. This is just me going off my gut. Even though you may not technically have to, I would always take that opportunity to build a new one.
Yeah.
You've got this. Let's go ahead and start from scratch. I've got this office over here. You can mark that, put a new date on this one, and build it the way you want to build it. That's what I would do, and it's not that hard, honestly. And it's nice just to make sure you.
It's always good to take a look every once in a while.
Yeah.
Hey, Shane and Lex, I would like to see how to update MS Office 2016 security updates through PDQ Deploy without using Windows Update. Thanks, Lawrence. Call me Larry P.
We had a webcast on that a little while ago.
Last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, unfortunately, it is somewhat of a manual process. if you don't want to use Windows Update and you don't want to use WSUS, then it's to the point, at this point with us, you've got to go out there and identify, you've got to go grab those patches. And
there's generally a lot of those.
Yeah,
and it becomes cost and time prohibitive.
Yeah, and then build your package. You can build your package. It's most likely going to be like an MSU or an MSP file. Could even be, in some cases, EXE. We covered that, but it's the fact that you're going to have to go there and grab those download files. We don't do that yet with Office. There's so much going on between, behind the scenes on the Office patches that we haven't offered those yet, like we have the Windows cumulative ones. But there is a way to do it. It's just a little bit more time intensive.
Yeah.
Check out the archive for last week.
Yeah, last week was webcast.
Dear Shane and Lex, is there a way to set a schedule to run 2 days after the second Tuesday of the month, or is this a planned feature? Would be useful for Windows updates. Sincerely, Austin Groovy Baby P.
I don't think so. I mean, we've got
2 days after the second Tuesday of the month.
2 days before the day after tomorrow.
Yeah, so
Who thought of that? Who thought of that South Park episode?
instead of a schedule, you could have the approval set to 2 days after, which would probably work better because Microsoft, I know they say Tuesday's Patch Tuesday, but they've been twice a month now sending updates. Mm-hmm. So having it based on approval where it goes 2 days after approval, then you can...
Well, there's the approval, and then he's wanting the schedule. So you're right. The approval is, if you say approve, you download a package and you say, I want this only approved, an auto-download for 2 days after, you'll at least cover that, but then whatever his schedule, however aggressive the schedule is.
Yeah, so, but if it was set to run every day but not run if it's already run once, then once it's approved, it will run at that point after the 2-day approval.
Yeah. No, I don't know of, we don't have a way of saying the number of the day that I know of, unless it's eluded me. But do what Jordan said, and that is set your, when you're downloading these patches, particularly you go out there and download, we'll start this just so you can see it. Go out to the package library. We'll do a smaller one, security.
I mean, 2 days after the second Tuesday is Thursday.
It's the second Thursday.
Can't you just set that to the second Thursday on the schedule?
How do you do that?
Wow, that works, JJ. Logic, I love it.
I mean,
didn't I see?
Yeah, you go to monthly.
You go to monthly.
Oh, okay.
You have the day of month, but you don't see that day of month.
That's right.
What about
Thursday.
day? Oh,
That's
I guess
a good
day
point.
of week doesn't have a. Can't do every.
Would you like to come over here, JJ?
No. I was thinking of day of week. Just run it every Thursday.
No worries.
Anyway, put your pre and post step. Do it every Thursday. Put your
I'm
pre
gonna
and
go ahead and
post
get back
step
to what I was
determine
doing.
Whether it's
Sorry
the
to derail
second
you.
day after the
Okay, so when you do this, let's just go to this security only update because it's going to be a little smaller. When you download this, set your auto download to 2 days approval. By default, it's set to 7 days if you haven't changed that. But you can actually go and change where
do it at the package level. Yeah,
there it is. Yeah, you can actually change this to
open it up, brother.
And
Clicky,
it's in the
clicky.
options.
I also don't want to take credit for that idea. That was all Allison. I'm just stealing from her.
So we're going to change this to go auto download and then say automatic after 2 days. Notice we're not changing this globally. We're changing it just for this particular auto download.
Yep.
And this way, if you say 2 days, and then it depends on your schedule. Remember, this doesn't kick off after 2 days. This just means after this has been available for 2 days, it will get replaced by the new version, whatever replaced this. But you're still contingent on the next time your schedule or a manual deployment kicks off. That's probably a good way to do it. Or if you're going to go back to your schedule, do that. Just say it might be a little more kludgy, but you can just say, do this on the 16th of every month. That way you're guaranteed that it's going to be at least 2 days after the last Thursday, but most likely it's going to be a week or so after.
Now,
That's one way of
can
option.
you write a PowerShell script that determines whether it's the 2 days after the second
course
Tuesday of the
you
month? Okay. And so if it's not, right, you just have this thing run every Thursday and have the pre-step go out and give you an error code if it's not, and just stops the deployment at that. So it makes an attempt, but it would stop the deployment.
PowerShell to kick off the deployment based on that logic instead of using our schedule?
You just have it runs every Thursday, and all PowerShell does is go and says, is it the second Thursday of the month?
Okay.
If it is, you give it a success code and it continues. If it doesn't, you error code.
Well,
and use
Austin
the
brought up a
code.
good point. There are some times where the second Thursday happens
On the 8th.
before the second Tuesday.
Okay, but you know what I'm saying. It's
Yeah,
like
it would take a bit more logic, but I don't.
You'd want to do it.
you follow where I'm going, though.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of different ways to try and skin that cat
Anyway.
or scale that.
That,
out
I
right.
would look at it what Jordan said with the approach it from those particular patches from Patch Tuesday. You set their approval for at least 2 days, and then have those scheduled to go out on a daily basis. But you know that you're not going to get the new one until at least 2 days after. That's the best way to do it.
What else you guys
That's the
got?
best way to do it to fit your requirements. I'm sorry.
Dear Shane and Lex, is there a way to bulk add information to a custom field in the inventory? For example, I have 50 computers at location X, and I want to add that location information to all of those computers at once. Thanks, Bill R.
Jordan, you want to take this one, my friend?
Yeah, this is actually, Chris has a blog on this. I think it's in the bonus content, where he goes through using the commands that we have built in to import on a mass level.
Okay. Yeah, to address this very
Yeah,
thing,
it will handle exactly that. So it's adding custom fields, multiple computers with PowerShell.
Okay, so check that out, Bill. It's in the bonus content, you say?
Uh-huh.
All right, wonderful.
Good stuff.
Thank you.
Dear Shane and Lex, is there a way to schedule the agent install to install when the device comes back online? Sincerely, Mark S.
So unless you use
Like a heartbeat.
a heartbeat schedule, which means it's internal, and you install the agent as a package. What do you want to say?
Yeah, it was the same thing. So it'd have to be a deploy package, and it wouldn't work for your external machines unless.
So they'd have to hit the network to come online, and then they would get
and once the
that.
heartbeat checked in, it would install the agent then.
Yeah. So hopefully they answered your question. The answer is use a package, a deploy package for the agent, and you would have it set to a schedule for a heartbeat trigger, so that when that computer is detected to have an online status change from offline to online in inventory, it gets that deployment. That's the way to do it. But that only works if it's on your network. It won't work if the person's out at a Marriott, unless you happen to be at Marriott with your deploy infrastructure.
Hey, Shane and Lex, is there a known issue with the PDQ agent causing some Windows updates to fail? Thanks, Michael. This is my attempt at a Shane beard. T.
Respect on the beard, brother. Well, apparently there's been an issue. I don't know with the agent, but it was an issue with a couple of KBs, right? You want to take this one?
That was agent specific.
Was it agent specific?
Yeah, so there was an issue with the agent causing the Microsoft updates to fail, which I believe we have a fix for if support.
Okay, so if we need you to reach out to support. What's your personal email there, Jordan? Reach out to support because we have a customer build that apparently has resolved this issue, which means we'll be getting it out in public soon. But if this is if you need to get this addressed now, is it okay to have that happen, Jordan?
Yeah, I do think we've had customers that reported it to us verify that it does work after the fix.
Excellent.
All right.
Dear Shane and Lex, can Deploy validate the PC name before deploying software? When DNS has information that hasn't been updated yet, I am seeing applications deploy to a computer it shouldn't because the host name pings to an IP of the wrong machine. Thanks, Brian G.
Mm-hmm. That sound you just heard was Josh in the back with his nunchucks. Okay, so right. In order to do that, the easiest way would be to have us use a reverse. But yes, you're going to have that problem. I would say the easiest way to do it, honestly, is to try everything you can to get your DNS up to date. Yeah. We used to have in an earlier product, we actually had some serious validation to make sure, not just a reverse lookup. We actually went deep to make sure that this was the machine DNS was returning. The Problem is, it worked on about 13% of the company of the customers because of policy restrictions, remote registry,
lack of clean DNS.
It was just it was a wonderful feature, or at least it sounded wonderful whilst we were sitting around the bar drinking beer and designing it. When the rubber hit the road, most companies' policies just wouldn't allow it. So and because I don't even think we expect reverse DNS. I don't think we expect that because so many people don't even have it set up. Do you know anything about that?
I don't know if we specifically test for the reverse DNS.
I don't think we require it. That's really the way. That's really the way it is. But yes, you've got a DNS. You're going to need to clean up your scavenging if you can. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad tidings, but get your scavenging set up and do everything you can to get those up to date.
You know, there's a great DNS. If you think it's a problem, it's DNS, and 80% is DNS, and the other 20% is DNS. That's the webcast where Brig takes you through scavenging. So check that on our videos.
Yeah, you can run into some problems. Like I said, we had a great we thought was a slick solution years ago, and it just turned out that just the policies for most companies wouldn't allow it to work. But it was silky smooth, man. Once they had those policies set up.
Hey, Shane and Lex, can we do an inventory report on machines that fail to take a deploy package and why? Thanks, William Z.
That's a really good question. So there's a couple of things that we capture in inventory or in deploy when the deployment is attempted. There is an error status that's thrown out, and you can kind of watch that. So the answer is kind of yes. Let's go look at it. Let me see if where you can't. If you've ever looked at the log, like the step log, if it's an MSI, that's not thrown in the database. So that's not something that we can take reports on. But let me see if we've got. Let's count. I'm going to go over here to find a machine.
Check Beth. Usually do a lot of tests on Beth.
You do a lot of tests on Beth.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
So I'm going to look at just a report from inventory. Notice I go to that computer. I look at deployments, and here I can see these 8 deployments. So you can create a report. You don't have to do it from within the computer, but you can create a report that looks for deployments, and you can put if it's not the deployment ID, you can put any types of filters in there, the package name, and which ones had a status of failed, and that would probably help you out. Now, as far as the error, you're limited to this one. You're limited to what is returned by the program that we captured. So sometimes you may not see much that will be helpful. Sometimes you'll see a lot that will be helpful. So look at that. What you're not going to see though would be if I can find an example. Just to set the expectations, I want to make sure that you're not going to.
If you look at reboots, you can look at the deployments from reboots and see the ones that failed on.
Anything here that's I want to look at. Oh boy, Chrome. No steps. Anything here, these output logs, you're not going to see those. That's not in the database. That's on a flat file. So just to set expectations, you'll see the error that's returned, but you're not going to see the full logging. But yes, the answer is yes. Hopefully, you'll do it from within inventory. Probably the gotcha is you were trying to do it from deploy.
Dear Shane and Lex, in inventory, is there a way to see the current screen resolution? Sincerely, David H.
No.
Wow,
No.
that is definitely a no.
Which monitor?
Yeah, well, we've looked at it. We've looked at it before, and we thought we had this one time, and it turned out the data that was being
returned
was very that we were even outside of inventory. We were looking at WMI, and the data they had there was clearly not the resolution. Mm-hmm. It got to a point that we were like, it's probably not worth it. So no, not natively anyway. By the way, if you do find one, by all means, hit us up if you find a good way of finding that out in mass for your computers, and we'll throw you some swag, dude.
So when I
I'll
first
send you
question,
some whiskey.
I tried messing around with PowerShell, and there is a .NET class that will give you the resolution of all monitors, but I could only get it to run locally so far. So it's something I think it might be possible with PowerShell. It's a very specific .NET class, but I haven't. I'll keep fiddling with this if I can.
Because
I just like the but on there. Yeah, it's pretty good, but yeah. So that's what we always ended up running into is the but it didn't work this time. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to hear if you do find that. Sorry, I apologize that's not available. It's just one of those things that we didn't feel confident returning because we couldn't verify the data was accurate.
Dear Shane and Lex, do you ever see a phone/tablet app possibly connected to our internal PDQ server by our own VPN or by agent-ish commands sent through the cloud that get sent to our internal servers by additional services through you or other cloud services in the future for PDQ products? I would love to send a deployment while grocery shopping without having to TeamView or into my work computer. Thanks, Jason A.
I found it interesting, Jason, that you specifically called out grocery shopping.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Say, wouldn't you...
At the bar having a beer, I can understand
Going to
that.
an Arkansas game or something like that.
Does a lot of grocery.
Okay, so it's definitely a feature. It's definitely just kind of a question about our roadmap and what we see. And never say never. We have talked about this, but as far as if and when, I think the if is a high probability, but that still could mean zero. I think it's got a higher probability. I just don't know when. But yes, I would like to see that. How's that for commiseration? I would like to see it. It has been discussed. Let's put it this way. It hasn't been shot down. How does that sound?
That seems nice. Anyway, next question.
That's pleasant.
Dear Shane and Lex, is there a plan to support scheduling deployments relative to the machine's local time zones? Every global deployment requires us to make 6 separate schedules. Thank you, Gabe C.
Hey, Gabe. Oh man, will somebody capture that? I know that we do it from the time of the server. We were designed primarily for small. We're designed for small to mid-sized networks, and we've attracted some of the larger networks or more diverse networks that we honestly didn't think we would. So we've had to try to play catch up. That might be something worth looking at for a future request, where they can choose to have target time zone be used. But that just someone captured that. Right now, no, not that I know of. It's going to be based off of your server.
Dear Shane and Lex, can I see on a particular PC which central server the PDQ Inventory Agent is associated with? I have some PCs with PDQ Inventory Agent as an installed application, but our production server thinks that the agent status is not installed. My guess is the agent was installed by my test environment server back on the first release, but the test server no longer exists, so I can't just pull that up to confirm. Thanks, Kathleen F.
Do you know the answer to that one? I mean, my answer, the answer is I don't know, but from looking, so you've only got the agent. You want to find. Do you know if there's a way to do that from the agent?
So you can query the agent's database, but it's going to require a SQL, and I just don't know it off the top of my head. It is possible, and if Kobe was sitting here, he'd probably just give it to you right now.
Yeah, I don't know of a setting at this point. I would just do a new install on top of that, just on top from your server. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it is in the database if they want to install SQL Lite and look at it, but strictly from you don't have access to the console. You're strictly from the agent. I don't know. I don't think so. That's one thing that the users really never need to know.
That's a good point.
Dear Shane and Lex, are there any future plans to offer PDQ with an enterprise database option for your large network customers? Thanks, Robert B.
Well, hello, Robert. Haven't seen you for a while. I think I mentioned this just a minute ago, actually. That we've had we've attracted customers that we didn't think, heretofore we didn't really think we would attract. So we've been trying to make some changes. We do, and I mentioned this to you before, Robert. We do have plans to at least offer a Microsoft SQL. That's pretty important. We see that happening. We don't know the exact release, but we do see that happening. just because of the limitations we've kind of seen with the adoption of the agent. As far as other RDBMSs like Oracle and stuff, we have no plans for that. Doesn't mean, never say never, but the move to SQL, but I don't think the answer's not going to make you happy because I can't tell you that it's going to happen on Thursday. But it is good to see you again, bro. We do have plans for it, but don't hold your breath for, anytime in the next release or two. So.
Hey, Shane and Lex, are there any articles on how to properly deploy a Windows 10 feature pack from version 1803 to version 1809? Thanks, WTH.
Well, we kind of had a similar question to this.
I think there's some users that have posted how they've done it in the forums, hasn't there been, Jordan?
There's, I couldn't find anything myself, but like updating to the latest Windows version is something that we get often, and I know some customers done it with our product. I know that it has to do with it checking back in. So I don't.
Yeah,
know. We can kick it off. It's just when it reboots, we lose connection.
It's not just the reboot because we do plan for reboots. It's when you're doing an OS update.
Mm-hmm.
When you're doing an OS update like this, we have customers we know that fire it off. And they're just they're satisfied with that because they know that a sizable portion of those machines are going to get updated. Even though we lose connection, it takes a while, and therefore we can't reestablish the connection. We can handle a simple reboot.
Mm-hmm.
This update will lose connection. So all we'll know is that it kicked off. Yet all of a sudden those machines come back with the update. This is just kind of how we were designed. We weren't designed to do OS upgrades like this. So you can fire it, but don't use deploy as, hey, when is this returning? Because it loses connection.
Fire it, and then you
at that
next
point
have
when it
to
comes
check
back
inventory.
online,
Yeah.
scan it with inventory, and you'll see that a good probability that a lot of them took. And then those that didn't, you can go out there and troubleshoot. But it's kind of it's the way that I shoot guns, which is spray and pray, versus Lex, who is deadly accurate. I've seen that guy shoot through the hole in the target twice, boom, boom, whilst moving. So that's one thing you're good at. Well done.
Yeah, well,
I'm proud of you.
I'm good at emptying your Scotch bottles. Have you noticed that?
No, you're not.
Especially the ones that you don't want me to drink.
You're good at, I wouldn't call emptying them as much as wasting them once they hit your lips.
Yeah, okay.
What else do we have?
Dear Shane and Lex, would you please review how to install Microsoft Click and Run for the new Microsoft Office product? Thanks, Rick M.
That would be I think that would be either a video or another webcast. We should probably do a webcast.
We have 1 minute left.
Yeah.
I like to right click.
No, we've got some webcasts out there, and I understand there's some pretty big changes that have come down. So we should do that. Rick will make a note to do some testing and either make that a video or a webcast because I think it's important.
Absolutely.
And by we, I mean Brig.
I like that we.
Yeah.
It doesn't involve you or me.
What do you got?
Dear Shane and Lex, is there a plan to add logging for hardware changes? For example, when updating video card drivers so that I could see what it is now compared to the last driver version with a timestamp. Thanks, Matt Z.
Hey, Matt. We don't have a historical. Again, small and mid-sized businesses. I mean, we weren't built with the whole historical stuff in place. So the only way you can really do that natively with us is to run a report looking for that information and then compare the reports
Export
later. Yeah, we don't keep historical data. So
I like the start of that question. It's kind of the am I right or am I right?
am I right? Am I right? Anything else?
And our final question of the day. I'm wrapping up a successful Exchange migration this evening. What should I be drinking to celebrate? Sincerely, Tyler S.
So that is a great question. Thank you, Tyler.
Yeah, it depends. Where you are. Depending on where you are, you might have a difficult time finding something. If you ever find a Hazelburn, you can't go wrong with that because it's generally just so delicious. If you're looking for something fairly economical, a Springbank 10 is a good one. That's a Campbelltown.
That's Scotch drinker. We're assuming Scotch.
If you're like a bourbon or something like that, then a good Woodford Reserve is. I'm happy with that.
I've
And if you just
enjoyed
you're
Shane's
talking
Woodford
celebrating.
Reserves.
I wouldn't pop a Jack Daniels to celebrate. I'd pop a Jack Daniels to have for dinner. But yeah, check out a Springbank or a Lagavulin.
There you go.
Yeah, rock on.
Even a Lefroy quarter.
Congratulations on the exchange, by the way.
Good job, brother.
All right, and with that, and the fact that we have Jordan over here as an old exchange administrator, he's tipping his hat to that last question. I'm Shane.
I'm Lex. Thanks for watching, guys.
We'll talk to you guys later.
Thanks for joining our webcast today. Congratulations, Michael T. and Gabe C., winners of PDQ swag. Send us your info at webcast@pdq.com. If you have additional questions, feel free to reach out to our support forums. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you back here next week.